him up.
I think she beat him up, which is really
of all times. You had to go live. Yeah.
All right.
Context. It's the second most important thing. Good night, everyone. I guess you probably do now. For those of you who haven't, we are now doing the photo review for our first challenges of 2017. Now, I'm joined tonight with my co-hosts, which I've apparently taken over the role of Brian, but that's okay.
Yours.
But my two co-hosts, Brian.
Hello.
And Michael.
Hello.
Michael. There you
go. So we had a couple submissions for our two assignments this month, and it was exciting. We just spent the last probably good 40 minutes talking about these pictures. Now, our assignment for last month was a creative challenge, Man in Black, so I think maybe Johnny Cash, as well as we had a foundations challenge, which was on Aperture and the role it plays in our photos. And we've had some very good pictures, some really interesting takes on the idea, and we're really excited to chat about them. I've been writing some comments so far, so stay tuned for everyone else's comments, as well as we're now going to talk about our top picks.
Our nuts. No, it's just talking about Ivan's photo with the nut in his hand. I thought that was kind of cool.
It is a very large nut.
It's a very large nut. Okay, well, thank you everybody for tuning into this review. This is the first one that we're doing where we're pre-recording it and then airing it later. Should be fun. Phil, thanks for doing that. That was awesome.
I've always wanted to do that.
You've got the job from now on.
Yay!
It's all you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dog abuse.
Winnie did not like that.
Oh, wow.
We'll edit that out in post.
Where are your thumbs?
Winnie? Who's that?
Is everything okay?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's because the cable's going into you.
Oh,
I see what's happening. She's not a big fan of the cable. No.
Oh, what a cute puppy, though. All right, so we're totally squirreling already. We're chihuahuaing.
Yes, we are.
You
but
okay?
That's okay. She's like that thing you put on the microphone so it doesn't make noise. You just talk through her, and all the echo goes away.
She's not a dead cat.
Thankfully, she's not. Okay, Winnie, you have tangled yourself up pretty good.
What is happening here? We're doing a show, Phil.
That was for Jennifer Newberry.
Okay.
The squealing part. That part wasn't.
No. All right, cool. So we're going to get into our shots, and let's start talking about the photos for Man in Black. How about
Absolutely.
that? So I'll tell you what. I'm going to do a screen share, and y'all can start talking. So I'm now that I hate certain people, I am trying to be American. So
you're picking up their vernacular.
Yes, that's right. Thank you. All right, so here are all the photos, and we're going to leave proper reviews on them at some point. But today, we're going to talk about the 4 photos that we've picked for first and second place in each category.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about the first category, which is the fundamentals the creative challenge, which we did for the Man in Black, like Phil already said. So I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to share our second place photo for the Man in Black, and that would be... No drum roll. Ivan's.
Yay!
The burning ring of fire.
Drum roll, but
the sound effects have been taken out of this thing.
Yes, I can't access them for some reason.
Yeah, they're gone. They're gone. All right, so Michael, why don't you begin with our photo review for Ivan's The Man in Black?
Well, it's going to be an interesting review for me because I have absolutely no background appreciation of Johnny Cash to be able to contribute to this, but from a technical standpoint, I can appreciate the concept of the Ring of Fire, and immediately what stands out to me is, one, you shot the snow, and I can see all the details in it, and you got the fire, which means the fire was exposed properly, that I can actually see the entire flame. So from a technical standpoint, right off the bat, I like the exposure immediately because everything is clear. We're not really losing much in the shadows either. We've got a lot of content and detail to work with, and it's nice and sharp.
Yeah, great points. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I think the exposure is perfect on the flame itself because we can see it We can see the detail in it, and it does really play to the, it's a burning ring.
Mm-hmm. My only thought for this shot, though, would be to get in closer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's about the ring and the fire. It's not about the snow, right? So if you had cropped in a little bit closer, and I'm going to see if I can
zoom in.
Yeah, it's kind of wonky all over. But even kind of like that, and maybe come up to the side a little bit, go with the angle of the flames leaving the ring.
I see where you're getting at.
There's a ring of fire, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I agree with both of you guys. Excellent sharpness, great detail. And that's something that we do look at. I mean, obviously, story is important. We want the story to come through. We want to see what the idea was behind the photo. But at the same time, I mean, we want to have a sharp photo if sharpness is required for that photo.
Yes.
And I think most of the photos that we had today, sharpness was required. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, this definitely came through. Good job, Ivan. Anything else to add on that, guys?
No, I think that's pretty much everything I've got.
All right. Well, Ivan, you've got yourself a lens pen, lens cloth. So come on by Henry's and see me anytime you'd like, and I will give that prize to you. It's all there for you. Thank you, and congratulations. All right, so first place for Man in Black goes to...
Drumroll.
Drumroll, please. Thank you. Rosemary's shot.
Hey!
Star for a star. Phil, what do you think of this shot?
I'm going to be completely honest. When I first looked at this picture, I didn't get what was happening. But talking about it with you two, it kind of brought the perspective into it. And I started realizing and thinking things as you were explaining it. And there's a lot going on in this picture that I like. And I'm not going to go too far into it because it's going to be the same stuff you guys are saying. And I'm going to give you guys some time to talk. But I like the effort that was put in to perfectly center the sun in between the branches to get the result that she was going for.
Mm-hmm. That great point. Michael, what do you think?
I really like this shot, that you took a lot of minor technical approaches to the shot to be able to create the concept and the story that you're telling, that you were underexposing the shot as far as you did to be able to get the tree to be black, and then make use of the aperture, which is really nice next to the fundamentals challenge as well, that you were using the aperture to get that starburst effect, as well as the fact that you were lining it up to the tree so well for everything to just line up so nicely. I like the symmetry in the shot. I like how nicely everything's balanced out. And really the only thing that stands out to me is wanting to see this actually as the square crop. It really stands out to me as possibly an album cover. So it'd be interesting to see this cropped a little bit shorter.
I agree with the cropping 100%. Exposure, I think, is great, and the color, I love the color. Getting it in a little bit closer, going for maybe a square or something a little different kind of crop, you start to notice all of the details, and that there is ice on these branches, and the sun hits them, and you can see it kind of glisten off the edges. You can't see my mouse over the window, can you? No,
not really. But we can kind of imagine what you're getting at. Yeah,
I mean, all these little branches have their own little encrusted ice hut that they're living in, and you can kind of see that when you get in a bit closer. But yeah, I think this is a really neat shot. Great idea and great sight to be able to be walking around and see that light come through there and think, I know what I'm going to do with this photo. I'm going to make a small aperture. I'm going to aim it up into this spot. I'm going to get that little glint. I think you did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's purposeful. That wasn't an accident. That was somebody who was looking for that glint of light, knew how to set the camera up to create it. So good job. All right, so that is our first and second for Man in Black. And Rosemary, you're going to get the Lens Pen Pro Kit, which I will show you as soon as I stop doing a screen share.
Is this thing?
Yes.
So this is the Lens Pen Pro Kit. It unzips very loudly into the microphone. More importantly, it comes with a nice soft cloth, an instruction manual, and 2 lens pens.
Look at that.
One designed for smaller surfaces than the large one.
Thank you very much, Vanna Zerato.
Oh, you're welcome.
Bing! It's got a little hooky do on the back too.
It does. You can attach it to your camera bag.
Lovely. Okay, so let's get into the photo challenge Aperture.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we were talking about, Ivan's nut. That's a good shot. So we were going through all these shots, and we had quite the discussion on these. And this is where we were talking earlier about sharpness, having some sharpness to the shot. There were a few that people submitted that if they were sharper, that story would have been relayed a little bit better. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So what we finally decided for our second place photo was Jennifer Snyder's shot of the guitar.
Yes.
Now, it's interesting because this kind of applied to both challenges, Man in Black with the moody guitar and Aperture, of course, for the shallow depth of field that was chosen, and the way that she angled the guitar, giving a different perspective, which really emphasized that depth of field. Let's just see quickly here. This was at f4.5, so it's not like a wide open 1.8, and the angle of the guitar gave that impression. Having that the guitar head closer to the camera made it in focus, where things further away blurred off. That's proximity, not necessarily aperture entirely, but that's definitely an influence. I think proximity had a lot to do with this as far as depth of field goes, but still a cool shot. If I were to try and improve on a photo like this, to me, it's about the crop. The bottom of the guitar, to me, the roundness of it, I don't think is necessary. I think if it were to be more about, well, that's way too far. Kind of like that. And then straightened it out a little bit. That would be a different story being told. But ultimately, it's a very cool shot. I love the detail, and there's nice sharpness up here at the head. So I like it. Phil, what do you think?
I like it as well. I think the length of the guitar can work. The biggest thing that's distracting to me is the fact that it seems to be off kind of on a bit of an angle. Unless you just said that, but I don't remember you saying that.
Well, when I was talking about zooming in a little bit, I kind of mentioned that a little bit, but that's okay, Phil.
Sorry, I kind of just went over here for a second, but I'm back. But no, I like the creativeness of it. I like that the tree is nice and sharp on it. Just because it's an interesting thing, an interesting bit of detail to have as the sharpest point.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Michael?
Yeah, I agree with all the points. I would definitely be curious to see this cropped in a little bit tighter and adjusted so that the guitar is a little bit straighter as well. One of the things that stands out to me when you're going to shoot a guitar is really thinking about the direction of the shadows and sort of how dramatic you can make this scene, especially when you're focusing across. It's not a flat object, but you're focusing across a relatively flat surface. It would be interesting to see if you could try lighting it from the side or try different angles to light it to create a more dramatic effect and really kick different angles and tell a bit more of a story there. Because when you're lighting straight down and looking down at the same time, it does tend to fall a little flatter. And you can see that there's not a lot of depth to the actual contrast of the image aside from the colors of the guitar itself.
Good point. Lighting would make a huge difference, pro or con. I think it's really fun either way just to play around with that and see the different shadow you get and, try several different photos from lighting from different angles and just see which one you prefer.
Yeah. If you could just rest the guitar on something and put the camera on a tripod, this would be a perfect example of a really fun subject to try light painting with.
Ah, yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things we talked about, I totally forgot to mention, was the pick. When we first looked at the photo, my first thought when we were chatting earlier was it'd be really cool if there was a pick up here on the bridge of the guitar, right at the top frets there. And I thought that would be really cool. And you pointed out there is a pick there. And I looked back like, oh yeah, there it is. Little out of focus. And then Phil, was it you that mentioned it looked like a little bit of a...
It was Michael.
It was Michael?
Yeah. But I get where he's getting at.
Yeah, when I first saw it, since that area is out of focus, when I first saw it, my first reaction was, is this sort of a healing brush in Photoshop? Did something miscommunicate in that area that it looks blurry and something's off with the texture? And it took a while of looking at it, and actually I think it took Phil or Brian pointing that it was a pic before I got out. I was looking.
Yeah, and once we saw that, it's like, okay, well, at least there's the pic there. That's cool, but maybe bring it closer to the in focus area so it's a little bit more noticeable that it is the pic.
I'm kind of sad that I didn't pick that up sooner, because I'm literally sitting next to a guitar with a pick in the strings.
You didn't pick it up?
Da-da-dum, bing. All right, so that's our pick for second place. Thank you, Jennifer, for submitting. I think this was your first shot you submitted for a challenge, and I hope you continue to do so. It's excellent work. All right, so now we're going to go for our first pick. This is Jamie Morphy's shot for Aperture. Now, the first thing I want to say before we get into anything, and we didn't make this clear at the beginning, but the photo challenges are originally intended for creating new images. Because this wasn't mentioned ahead of time, Phil picked it up right away. This was shot in 2016. Who'd have thought? There's the watermark right at the bottom. So I was like, all right, well, check out the EXIF information. No, February 22nd, 2017. And then, Phil, you made a comment on the actual photo, and I wonder if I can pull that up here. Yeah, look at that. Update your watermark. He goes, oh, it's actually taken November 2016. So unfortunately, it was taken before the photo challenge was issued. However, because we didn't stipulate ahead of time, which we will do so from here forward, again, these photos should really be new photos created for the challenge specifically. However, Michael, why don't you give us your thoughts on it?
I really like this shot. I think it's definitely a really clever use of aperture in this case, and it was nice to see that you took a macro approach to this. It's a really dramatic shot. I like the added challenge of the fact that it's really difficult to get something this small with this razor thin of a depth of field in sharp in just the right spots. You got it in focus in just the right spots, which is to appreciate with this photo. Yeah. One thing that stands out to me that I would have liked to seen is actually possibly a little bit more contrast, because you've got that faded gray in the eyes is really what's standing out to me with this shot. That makes me want to see if the levels were in on this and the contrast was brought down so but darker and get that really black punch in the eye. I think this shot overall would have a lot more vibrance and color to it to have that little extra punch with the contrast. So I'm curious to see what that might have looked like. Yeah, but otherwise, it was definitely a brilliant approach.
Cool. Phil, what do you think?
I really like this picture. I think the fact that you were able to catch not only the eyes sharp, but see the actual distortion in the gel of the eyes, I think works out really well. And the fact that the teeth are a little bit sharp actually kind of works out. I
am actually a little bit intimidated by this little fish.
It looks like a tiny fish, but it looks at his very sharp teeth.
He means business, this one.
Indeed he does.
Anything else there, Phil?
No, I think that you guys pretty much covered a lot of things.
Well, I haven't really gone yet, but yeah, that is cool. So no, I agree with you, Michael, on the contrast. I think pop that up a little bit, get a little bit more of that color bump out from the eyes. But I got to say, my dad's an old school diver from back in the day. He started the dive program at McGill University way back in the late 60s. If my father were to see this, he would love, love, love it. It reminds me a lot of when I was a kid, looking at my dad's slides that he would take, with the lights and the whole thing. So I have a connection to it. I think it's really great. I couldn't really think of anything to improve it other than possibly, like you say, a little bit of bump in the contrast or maybe even saturation or something. But that's a personal taste. I think it's sharp where it needs to be, like you guys said, and the teeth are scary. So love it. So Jamie, you won yourself the same kind of deal. You got yourself the pro kit, and that's pretty much it. That's our photo review. We will go through and make comments on the rest of them as well, as Phil's already done. But thank you guys so much for submitting. And again, the second place prizes are going to get the LensPen Micro Clear Cloth, which is pretty cool. And first place prize is the entire LensPen Pro kit, which Phil showed off. Vanna Zerato over there. Okay, so we've picked the challenges for the next photo segment until the end of the month. And I'm just going to get my calendar so everybody knows exactly when these photos are due. All right, so we're issuing it today.
Yep.
The photos are due by the 24th of March. That's a Friday. And we will do our video and release that on the 28th of March, which is a Tuesday. So that'll be awesome. Video released. So it's in my book.
There we go. If it's in your book, we have to do it.
So it is, and it will be so. All right, so the photo challenges that we have upcoming, and again, we're going to stick to the fundamentals and the creative challenges because we didn't have a plethora of submissions this month, which is fine because, again, lives happen. That's great. And I do appreciate those who did submit. But for the next one, we want to keep it challenging. I was thinking for a second that we would try and either make it harder or make it easier. And I think what I want to do is just keep it so that the fundamentals are emphasizing core photography fundamentals. And the creative just gives you open license to do whatever you want to do, which you could do for fundamentals too. That's why they're not beginning challenges and advanced challenges. They're both advanced or beginning, depending on what you want to do.
It's why they're the fundamentals.
They're not the boring dementals or the lame dementals. Anyway. Oh, and by the way, in case you hadn't noticed,
we're full of band names tonight.
I know, right? I just want to show off this awesome I Survived the DTP Spinoff 2017 shirt. This past weekend, we had the Fire on Ice spinoff, which was awesome. One of the biggest turnouts we've ever had. The spinners were phenomenal. Nuri, the lady who did the social media for the Vaughan Film Festival that I worked with for a few years, came in and got the winning spin. So $100 cash to you, Nuri. Congratulations. And Sean Johnston for making the shirt and for making the trophy. He actually made a full legit trophy for it, which was pretty cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. All right, so back to the fundamental challenge. This month is, Phil, do you want to say?
Absolutely. So the fundamental challenge this month is going to be focal length. So your take on that? Are you going to shoot with a wide angle lens and get that huge sprawling scene, or are you going to use a large telephoto lens and compress the picture and make everything look like it's right beside each other, or something in between, or
That's
something
so
I didn't
cool.
talk about? You can do a ton of things with this, and I'm super excited to see everyone's take on this and how creative you're going to be with this as a guideline.
It's going to be a lot easier, I think, than Aperture, because Aperture is tough to show. I mean, there's many factors that show depth of field. Aperture is only one of them. So I give you guys a lot of props for going for it. But focal length, like Phil said, I mean, think of it this way. If you go to the Great Wall of China and you see those mountains that go off forever, when you use a telephoto lens and zoom into the mountains, you will basically shorten from the furthest mountain to the closest mountain, shorten it right down so they look like they're right behind each other, when in fact they're hundreds of miles apart from each other. And that's a focal length thing. Shooting wide stretches things, shooting far compresses. So play with these things and have some fun with it. So focal length is the fundamentals challenge. Creative challenge this month. Michael, do you remember the creative challenge?
The creative challenge is the sadness. We're going to be doing literally anything that you interpret from that. We're going to be going for sadness.
Very cool. And that's, again, creative.
Yeah.
What did I miss? Am I sad?
I don't know. Put on the sound of silence and get some inspiration. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
That was awesome. Okay, fundamentals, focal length, creative, sadness.
Yeah.
Can't wait for you guys to make these shots. Can't wait to see them. We're going to do that review, as I say, at the end of the month. And that's it. We're done. We're out of here. Thank you guys for being here tonight.
And thank you for having us, or at least me. I'm making hand gestures to where Michael might be on your screen.
No, you had it right the first time.
Okay.
Michael, thanks for being here, buddy.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Anything
I do want to conclude with a pretend quote from Jacques Cousteau, who said, just because it fits with the scuba theme from earlier, scuba divers are to roll backwards off the boat because if they rolled forward, they'd fall into the boat.
That's a great quote. I think my father used that once or twice. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. See you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.